Welcome to Almost Agreeable.
Almost Agreeable.
With your hosts, Chris Nellison and Ed Harris. Hang around and listen to opinions on sports, movies, music, and whatever else pops in our head.
And welcome back to another episode of the Almost Agreeable podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris. With me, as always, is
Ed.
And tonight we have a special guest with us as well. We like having guests on. Tonight we have Dave. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, first and foremost, I appreciate being here and having the opportunity to come and talk about stuff I feel strongly about. And I'm Christopher's brother. Gonna put him on blast. Older brother. But I'm from Southern California like Christopher, diehard Raider and Laker fan. I guess that's all you need to know of me right now. So we'll keep going. We're going to talk about what we have to talk about. So
all right.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, no, you're good. I appreciate you being here. So tonight, we're going to go ahead, just for those of you that have been listening, our Star Wars, our whole thing is going to be a 6-episode segment. So, but that's not going to be back to back. We're going to throw some things in just to kind of break the monotony.
We got to tease them. We can't give them all the good stuff every single week.
Can't just go straight
break
into
it up.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Tarantino films. And if you're stupid, then I might have to say Quentin Tarantino. But we're talking about Tarantino films tonight. So, we can kind of start off with, where did everyone in this group get introduced to a Tarantino film?
I don't know. I'm just going to pause for a second, but it's like, if you say Tarantino and they don't know, but then you say Quentin and they're like, oh! There's no way that's happening.
No, that's fair. I don't know why I did that.
There's no way that's happening.
You're right. You're right.
So I let me think of the first Tarantino film that I ever watched. I think it actually was Kill Bill. It was Kill Bill Volume 1. Yeah.
It took you that late?
That was the first one that I ever watched. Well, when did that come out?
Well, that was the fourth film.
No, I know, but when did that come out?
2001 something.
I was 9.
Let's get ask for reference. How old were you and Christopher? Because you guys are the same age.
Yeah.
When that came out, right? 9, you said.
Yeah, it's. I still shouldn't have been watching that.
No,
definitely not.
You shouldn't have seen Kill Bill when you were 9.
Were your parents kind of like me and Christopher's parents? Were it was you could see violent stuff, but you couldn't see sexual stuff. You were just okay, you can watch Terminator, or you can watch Kill Bill, where people are slicing people up or doing whatever they have to do, but you're not watching anything that would traumatize you.
It's
right?
It's just cover your eyes. That's all.
So you were allowed to see Kill Bill.
So you were like us. You were like us.
Yeah.
So so Kill Bill was the first one you saw.
Yeah, and it's just good.
But had the name occurred to you before then, as a 9-year-old?
No, I didn't know who Quentin Tarantino was. I didn't know that this was part of his anthology. I didn't know that this was. I was just oh, this is a cool movie. This broad has a samurai sword. I dig it.
Okay. Dave, what was the first Tarantino movie you were introduced to?
It would have to be Pulp Fiction. And it wasn't even I saw it. I was introduced to it because it was one of those movies that I think our parents loved and loved watching. And I think even they loved showing their friends, because I remember have them having parties at the house when we were little, and us being in our bed sleeping listening to Pulp Fiction. Well, they were showing their friends, look at this scene, and it was oh, I can't wait to see this movie. And I honestly don't know what age we were able to go and see it.
No, it's actually really wild he brings that up, because for me it was also Pulp Fiction, and it wasn't because of what he said. It was because one day I was just this is back in the VHS days, okay? There wasn't, it was VHS movies lying around.
Yep.
And they weren't, and my uncle, who was used to record movies for us on VHS, double features. He had a movie on it that I could watch, and then the second part of it was Pulp Fiction. And then so I put that one in, and then Pulp Fiction started playing. I was probably 7. I was young as fuck.
Right.
I was very young. And it started playing, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. I was 7 years old, but it gets to it didn't even get to the Gimp yet. It didn't get to the Gimp.
It could never get there, right?
No, it didn't get there. My dad walked in, and he was like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "Oh, I put this in, blah, 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 blah." And he saw what it was, And he immediately pulled it right fucking back out. He was like, no, you cannot watch this. So, I guess, just to say, that was my introduction to Quentin Tarantino. I finally watched it a couple years later, like, in my adolescence, and understood what was happening. But, like, my first introduction was, yes, Pulp Fiction. Like,
so this is why we are the way we are. We watch Tarantino movies way too early. Way too early. And that's why we're just fucked up in the head a little bit.
well, let's go through it, right? I think Reservoir Dogs was his first, yes?
Yes.
His debut as a director.
Right.
Reservoir Dogs, I think, in my opinion, is a very underrated movie. Very underrated.
Underrated? I think it's rated like...
No, for Quentin Tarantino fans, it's rated. But, like, people forget that was his debut fucking directorial. Like, his directorial debut. That was his first fucking film. People forget. They think about Kill Bill. They think about Django. They think about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They think about Pulp Fiction.
Number one, they think about Pulp Fiction. Like,
Yeah,
Reservoir Dogs is at the bottom of the list because it was the first one, but also because of the new ones and because, like, Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction, and everything else was... It does kind of get left out.
It does.
Well, it does, because, you know, I think the reason it gets left out is... With a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies, the reason he is so underrated is because his movies are so violent. If you watch Reservoir Dogs, it is a sinister, dark, torturing movie. And there's certain scenes that are hard to watch. You know, the thing about it is, it's like, when people watch it back in the day that they believe in good movie making, they saw the dialogue. They're like, this is a different kind of movie. They're talking about everyday stuff that we want to talk about. Yeah. You know, it's the conversations in the car with Chris Penn. Rest in peace, Chris Penn. You know, with where they're having the talks about old school shows that they would have watched that maybe me and you and Christopher would have watched shows and talk about it. You know, they're having conversations we would have had, and they're talking like we would have talked. And I think that's something we could have related to. But the violence of the movie, you know, the anarchy that happens in that movie is what was like, okay, stay away from Tarantino. He's violent and just bad.
It definitely has a different feel than the rest of his movies. Because it is still violent. It has that classic Tarantino violence. But most of it is just in that, like, warehouse. They're just, like you were saying, the dialogue. That's what it is. It's mostly just dialogue, but it has that different feel than most Tarantino movies. It's not like Django or like Kill Bill when they're going on a journey. It is a completely different mindset of most of the other films.
So you're right, but like the thing is like, so that was his first film. We said that. That was his introduction into like what Tarantino was doing. It is like, okay, his films are going to be very heavily dialogued.
Yeah.
With like, the shitty part about it is everyone's like, oh, there's too much dialogue, there's too much this, there's too much talking. It's like, but motherfucker, like in real life, this is what would be happening. This is life. You'd be doing this. You'd be saying, you'd be talking about this. So like, Reservoir Dogs, violent, dialogue, everyone was kind of like, okay, this is cool. And then as Quentin established himself in his further movies, everyone came into every one of his movies after that saying, I'm waiting for the dialogue, because it's great. Because as much as it may be too dialogue, it's still dialogue that you're like, hey, this is something that I fucking would do. This is human being behavior.
Yeah, like, I can see myself doing this. And it's like, obviously, if he made Reservoir Dogs, which I think didn't do great at the box office. It wasn't good.
No.
But one of those cult classics, if he follows that up with Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown or whatever he does, those actors that are in the movie, like, why did they agree to do the movie if they don't believe in what he made in Reservoir Dogs? Like, they had to have watched or they had to have known who Quentin Tarantino was. And what I'm getting into, you know, later is, like, he's directed some great movies, but he's also been involved in some other good movies. But it's like, in Pulp Fiction, you name some actors. It's Samuel L. Jackson, it's John Travolta, it's Bruce Willis. And even name the B actors that are in there, or A actors. It's like crazy who's in that movie, who believed in his vision after just Reservoir Dogs, right?
He got known. Like, Quentin got known for resurrecting actors' careers. So, like, it's like Travolta, his career was on a downturn. And then he did Pulp Fiction, and it jump-started back up. So, like, at that point, it was like, because of the acting that is able to be done from the dialogue that has been written, you can make or break your career again. Or, you know, keep it going. So by the time it gets to like the Leo years, where he casts him for Django, he casts him for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's because of his reputation of the dialogue, the writing that he does. Before that, it was like, what the fuck, there's so much dialogue. But at the same time, it's like, this is what makes the plot. This is what brings out your talent as an actor, is you being able to perform this dialogue and make it seem real to people like me, you, and you, the real people of the world.
Well, a lot of times in movies, people don't... If you're watching a movie, you don't want to be talked down to. You don't want to be explained the plot of everything and just hear everything kind of being told to you. Just like, okay, that's kind of unnecessary. Like, show me. But it doesn't feel like that with Quentin Tarantino. It just feels natural. Everything that happens is just kind of flowing dialogue.
Right.
So it doesn't feel like you're being talked down to at all. It doesn't feel like he's having to spell everything out for you.
He's not dumbing it down.
It's just natural progression of what a story would be.
Right. And then another thing, like I talked about how you were introduced to his dialogue with Reservoir Dogs. You're also introduced to his way of storytelling. Because in Reservoir Dogs, you jump back, you jump here, you jump forward, you jump back, you jump here, you jump to here. And then you're like, okay, that was kind of weird. And then you go to Pulp Fiction, you move on a little bit to Pulp Fiction. And that is the entire fucking story. Is like the jumping back and forth, and then you at the end of being able to put it together. It really makes you pay attention to the film. Makes you identify motivations for each character. Right? And that's the biggest thing, is what is the most thing you want to relate to in a film than to connect with the characters? Right. And so when you can go back and forth and see the motivations between these characters, you can say, okay, yeah, that definitely makes sense. Why does Bruce Willis hate fucking John Travolta? Why is this happening? Why are they at this fucking restaurant and they're talking about, whatever?
And what's powerful about what he does is because, like, if you watch Tarantino movies, like, the guy you're rooting for isn't always the protagonist. He could be a fuckface, He could be the guy that in real life you're like, dude, that guy's got to lose. But you want him to win, right?
Yeah.
So it's like John Travolta, when he's a piece of garbage. And,
not a good guy.
And he's going to the date with Mia, and you want him to win. When she finds his stash and she does his stuff, and and he's there, and he was going to go home and do what he was going to do.
He's talking to himself in the bathroom.
He's like, he's telling him, I'm going to go jerk off. Yeah, I'm going to go jerk off, and that's all you're going to do.
Jerk off.
Right? It's like, dude, like, he meant to do the right thing. He just wanted to impress his boss, and it was like, dude, I can relate to this guy, man. He's a bad guy, but, like, I want him to win, because, like, he wants her to save her,
Yeah.
It was like, he was good at spinning scenarios like that.
I really do feel like that's one of the most craziest scenes in any of his films, when she overdoses because she snorts his fucking heroin, right, thinking it was cocaine, and then he has to give her a fucking shot of adrenaline to the heart. Well, that's one of the best scenes in any movies I've ever seen, is because he runs to fucking Eric Stoltz's house, and he's like, hey, this happened. He's like, no, fuck that bitch. Like, it's okay. He's like, this is Marcelo Wallace's wife. Like, I have to tell him that you didn't help me. And then he's like, okay, I'll fucking help you.
Because he knows who he is.
Yeah.
It turned up to 10.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Real fast.
It went from 0 to 10 so much.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you watch that scene, like, if you're listening and you haven't, obviously, like, please have watched Pulp Fiction already. But if you have not, when you're watching it, that fucking scene, when he fucking plunges that fucking syringe into her heart, that's an amazing scene. An amazing scene. The way he comes down, hits her, and then she wakes right back up. But if you have seen it, watch it again, and watch the stoner girl, the girl the black-haired girl that's at their house the whole time. Watch her the entire scene. She's in the background. Just watch her, because at first she's like, I'm getting high. What the fuck's going on? And you can see very slowly how she's just like, I'm going to pay attention. What the fuck's happening? They're going to stab the bitch in the heart. What the fuck?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Just
like,
it's a very slow realization of just like,
right.
Oh shit.
Which is probably what I'd be doing. I'd be like, I have nothing to do with this. I'm just going to see what happens. But, to spend as much time as we could on Pulp Fiction, we could, but let's jump to some other great movies. Ed, keep going, man. Like, what's the next movie that just, like, you watch the Tarantino movie? Because they're all so different. You know what I mean? That's one thing that's amazing about Tarantino movies. Like, And it was one thing. It was like you watched Reservoir Dogs and you watched Pulp Fiction, and you're like, okay, I can see a pattern here. And then he fucking did like Kill Bill and like Inglourious Basterds.
Before that,
let me know what stuck out to you that was so different from what he did before.
Well, all of these things kind of have a scene or a theme, but like of just kind of ultra violence. Like it's pretty vulgar. But then he does Jackie Brown, which isn't. It's not really similar to the other ones that he's done. It kind of changes it up.
It's really not.
And
yeah,
I mean, he has Sam Jackson. He has Sam Jackson back.
That's his boy.
That's his boy.
No, he became his boy. He became his boy. Like, Pulp Fiction, he had
that was movie number 2 for him.
Yeah. Just believed in his actor, in the ability to play a role. And I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but Samuel L. Jackson, underrated actor, always in my eyes. And Quentin Tarantino saw that, and it was you just don't use. This is the thing, like when you watch Will Smith in Independence Day, make a little example. It's like, dude, he's always gonna be Will Smith in Independence Day. You know, like he's gonna be maybe some other things, but like it's like, dude, when you watch that, it's like he's gonna be that role. He's gonna be that guy.
Typecast.
What you're always gonna remember him by. You know, and he keeps. Even with Samuel L. Jackson, like he could play the guy in Jurassic Park who gets his arm bit off.
Hold on to your butt.
He could be Jackie Brown, what you're talking about right now, the guy who's so sinister and that you're going to talk about right now. And that's what you could remember by. Some people remember him by what you're going to talk about.
Dude, like he could be Jackie Brown, he could be Jules Winfield, like he can be. He's Nick fucking Fury.
He could be Stax from fucking Goodfellas. Well, he gets eliminated by Joe Pesci. Like, you know, like he's just he's transcendent.
He could play any role, but what I want is when you brought up Jackie Brown, because he's such a great character in the movie, I want to talk about how he, you know, because you were going to talk about him. He
is just a fucking pimp in that movie.
No, he literally is like the whole pimp hairstyle, like the pimp attitude. Like
the guy just exudes. It's not confidence. It's not cockiness. It's motherfuckerness, I guess, because it's Sam Jackson. Like that's just what he exudes. It's perfect, and you're just like, you just keep watching. You're like, oh shit, like he just runs shit that entire movie.
No, that was, I feel like, so like kind of transitioning a little bit. It's just like he wrote the main, like the title character Jackie Brown so well. Like, so like you are like, oh damn, Pam Grier, like she's fucking killing it. This is a female character who is doing things that we've only seen males do at this point. And that kind of transitions into what we saw in Kill Bill. Because Quentin Tarantino always wanted to write a female protagonist that was as badass that he could write. And we got that with Beatrix Kiddo. Yeah. We got that with The Bride. Yeah. And so that was your first Tarantino film you saw. Yeah. So I'll never forget, me and Dave, we saw that movie together. And it was with my dad. Like, he rented it. He brought it home, and he's like, we're going to watch this. And we were like, I felt like we were old enough. But, we fucking watched it, and it was violent as fuck. The first one, Volume 1, when she chops up the whole Crazy 88, like, when she fucking does that shit.
Well, I mean...
No, I haven't... sorry to cut you guys off.
Even before all of that, like, it does the whole anime portion in the beginning, which... That's the thing that fucking caught me. Like, I was just like... I don't know what I'm watching at all, but, like, I am all about this. And if the whole movie was like that, I would watch the shit out of it. Probably every day. And then it's like, okay, it kind of gives the preamble of her. And then she wakes up from the coma. And then she manages to make it to the car. What is it? The Pussy Wagon?
Pussy Wagon.
Pussy Wagon. That's what she makes it to. But that she's just trying to wiggle her big fucking toe. Just like...
Let's not forget that Quentin Tarantino has a foot fetish.
He did, and that explains. That explains it perfectly.
What were you gonna say, Dave?
No, I was just fading off. Ed, with the Jackie Brown thing, we're gonna jump back to Kill Bill, but like with Jackie Brown,
jump back and forth.
When me and Christopher watched it, we were like too young, but we realized like, yeah, she was the hero. But if you watch that movie, nobody was like perfect. Like everyone was kind of a scumbag, and it was like, it's one of those things. It was like you wanted the person who was. I guess whoever, because they were all scumbags, whoever aligned in your eyes to win, and it was Jackie Brown, because she was the person that was, the flight attendant who was just trying to take care of business.
Trying to make money.
Yeah, and it was A movie that I think that people need to rewatch or watch that never seen.
I actually don't think a lot of people know
Nobody
that
knows
it
that
was a
Quentin
QT film. Yeah, I don't think
Like,
people don't know that it was a Quentin
It's
Tarantino
an
film.
underrated film. But like once you go into Kill Bill, like you said, it's like that's when people knew like that Quentin Tarantino was like, who, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna do movies how I want to do them. A chick's gonna kick the shit out of fucking 100 dudes.
Exactly.
It was amazing.
Like he made Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, but it was really Kill Bill that I think like cinephiles obviously were just like, oh, Quentin Tarantino he does great movies, but Kill Bill I feel like kind of put him out to the masses, kind of blew everything up. Because I mean I don't know how Pulp Fiction was received.
It actually so like.
But I feel like it was. Yeah. I feel like Kill Bill brought back Pulp Fiction as well as Jackie Brown and Reservoir Dogs.
So you're right and you're wrong because so what happened was like Pulp Fiction came out and it was rated so violent, like and specifically like I'm thinking about the Gimp scene, like that was what critics hated that so much.
Probably, yeah.
So but like the thing is like it got hated on for its violence, but it was actually very critically acclaimed. It was actually his coming out party. Reservoir Dogs was, hey, this is good. Pulp Fiction came out and they're like, oh, this guy's not a one and done.
Fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, he's not one and done. He's doing more things. But like because it was so violent, like who the fuck's gonna watch it? Like,
It's like whoa.
Like it got into cannons, but it wasn't gonna get into. It was just one of those movies. It was like like it was ahead of its time, but people didn't know.
Yeah.
Like Chris was talking about, like people didn't know it was amazing.
Yeah, and then so then we talk about Jackie Brown, then we go into Kill Bill, and then so Kill Bill obviously is amazing with like you said, the anime that happened in it, but also the my favorite part of that is the female protagonist. Like I'm a big proponent of that shit. So then you go into Volume 2, which kind of ties up a lot of the loose ends that you see in the first Kill Bill. Right? Because you're like, why the fuck is Bill trying to kill this bitch? Like, why the fuck is she having revenge? Like, why is she so angry? The gaps are filled in. And I think the difference between Kill Bill Volume 1 and Bill Volume 2, it's like, Volume 1 is straight up just like violence. Just fucking badass shit.
End to end, yeah.
Yeah. And then Volume 2 is more of a Tarantino film because of the dialogue. And with that dialogue, it fills everything in that you had missed.
You needed it though, right? You needed to
you
know.
Did. But there was
so
still
many unknowns.
There was still a bunch of fucking violence and
Gore.
action in it, like just fucking wild shit.
Well, yeah, it's our protagonist is a very strong female, but then almost everybody that she's hunting down is also another badass chick.
Yeah,
like she hunts down multiple badass chicks that are just like, oh, it's not just like one girl, like, okay, yeah, we're making this a strong, like, woman who's getting revenge. It's like, oh, no, like, there's some other bad bitches, too.
Yeah, no, there's other bad bitches.
And you know what I loved about Kill Bill was, like, it wasn't, like, typical, like, oh, we're just gonna make this woman the hero, and she's, it was like, no, she got her ass beat. Like, she went through some shit. She got her ass kicked. Bill fucked her over, did everything you could to just kill a person, but not kill him. And it was like... You felt that when she went through it. It was like you felt that with her. Everything she went through when his name was Buck and he came here to fuck. It was like, nope, like, nah, motherfucker. I'm going to smash your head in this door and we're going to love it watching your head get smashed in the door because you did that.
That's real fucking
it was
life.
Like, you went through what Beatrix Kiddo went through, and it was like, nah, like, everything she's doing right now, she gets to do, and it was you loved her just avenging herself, so... Quentin Tarantino was great at that. Making her go through some shit.
It really did, because every person she killed, every revenge she took, like, it was personal, and Quentin Tarantino was able to kind of force onto you why it was so personal. And it felt personal to you.
In just a couple minutes, you could recognize the history between the two and understand why things were happening the way that they were happening.
Yeah. And but also, I think this is understated, is that, so the whole time you're like, yeah, fucking kill Bill. But then you find out why Bill did what he did, and I'm not defending him at all, but I'm like, knowing the character that Bill is, if a girl, that is in my employ, that I'm fucking, gets pregnant, and then she disappears, and then I find her, and she hid my baby from me, I'm kind of mad. I'm not a homicidal mad. I'm not going to fucking kill the whole wedding party mad, but I'm pretty mad. I'm upset.
We have a Bill sympathizer here.
No, yes. Yes.
We have a guy saying Bill did nothing wrong.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
That's not what I said. Yeah. Here's the thing. I didn't say that, but also Quentin Tarantino does a great job of showing us that the character that he built as Bill, a homicidal maniac, you can see that happening. It is plausible. It's plausible that he would react that way.
He's not just an evil figurehead.
No.
There's motives, and everybody in the film is a person, is a human being. They have their own life. They have their own thoughts, feelings, motives. Like
maybe besides fucking Buck, because that dude sucks.
Yeah,
Like,
besides that guy,
he got dealt with, right?
Yeah.
He kind of describes himself in a sentence and then gets off.
You kind of.
It only took that long to identify how much of a piece of shit he was.
Yeah.
And then you go to, sorry to just switch lanes because he's done so many movies, right? And I know you guys love all these movies and I want to talk about it, but like, then he does Inglourious Bastards and it's like, wait a second, what? Like, wait, you did that? Like, where did that, like, thought come from? Like,
well, what really stands out to me is that at that point in Quentin's career, it's like he had been reviving careers and like hiring people as actors like that were good, but like no one really weren't mainstream. By the time I got to Inglourious Basterds, it was like, oh fuck, Brad Pitt's in here.
Now you can do whatever you
Like,
want.
oh fuck, like yeah, Brad Pitt wants to be in my movie, and we'll get to Leo later. But right now it's about Brad.
It has to be about Inglourious.
Yeah. So right now it's Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt comes into this film, and Ed can attest to this. I'm a World War II history buff. I really am. It's like this movie coming out was like my wet dream. Knowing it's not true, knowing none of this ever happened, I was still like, this is what I would love to happen. This is my shit. Like, this is what I would love.
It's a great story.
So you bring in Brad Pitt. Like, you bring in Michael Fassbender.
Christoph Waltz?
Christoph Waltz!
Fassbender's amazing in that movie.
Yeah, no, he is.
By the way,
Yeah.
keep going.
Amazing,
Yeah,
Christoph Waltz is the
Well,
guy.
Waltz, yeah. Yeah.
He comes in and just plays a terrifying character. But he is so
Ed, talk about the first
friendly.
scene. Talk about the first scene, how he takes over the whole movie,
God.
and he just sets the tone for the movie. Talk about how he goes in there and he just sets the tone.
You go ahead. Just go ahead.
No, you take it.
You're feeling it.
I feel like you're feeling it.
So he comes in, you feel good about Monsieur Lapadite because you see his daughters and you see kind of just the foundation. He's got a farm and you already instantly know, like, because it's so great of a situation that you see when they roll up, you're like, oh, this is fucked. And then as he's questioning him, like Labadite's telling him everything he wants to know, and it's like, Tarantino's really good because it makes the guy Labadite so good looking. He's a handsome dude and he has handsome, beautiful daughters, and it's just like, dude, like, this dude's getting cracked. And the way that Waltz imposes himself on this guy is like Tom Brady imposing himself on the Atlanta defense in the fourth quarter. It was just like, you know what? Like, you guys messed around with me. You've been messing around with me. You've been hiding the juice from me for a while.
Oh my god.
You've been hiding these defenders around from me for a while. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just call your bluff, and I'm taking over the situation.
So real quick, this fucking analogy you just made is so fucking savage, but so fucking accurate. I was like, oh, why is it banging sports into it? And then I heard the whole thing out. And
I hate to do that.
Like, oh my god!
It was like a Tom Brady-esque takeover. It was like, no, I see through your bullshit. Listen, motherfucker, I'm gonna tell you what happened. There's some people downstairs. There's some defenders on deck that I see my tight ends. You see the situation. It was like he just called it. He was like, hey man, like, I love your milk and I love what you're doing and I love your family. But I know you're hiding Jews, and I'm gonna fuck your whole family if you don't give them to me. Well, and it was so sinister, and the way he took over was really dark,
But he's such a personable character as well. That's the flip-flop in that movie. It's just like, you seem like a guy who is just so personable, so caring, and like passionate, but he is just about killing Jews.
I don't think that it showed that he was that way. It showed that he was able to utilize people's weaknesses because they thought he was that way. I really feel like that he's a sociopath. He's a sociopath. And so I guess what I kind of want to segue here I'd love to talk about Inglourious Bastards all fucking night, and we always will be able to revisit it. But we do have.
And I want my scalps.
Yeah.
And I'll get my scalp.
So we do have to move on. So like, Inglourious Bastards was a controversial fucking topic to hit.
Yeah.
And the success of that movie allowed him to make there was a few movies after that, but the main two that were controversial he was able to make because of that film were Django and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Both very controversial topics. So we'll start with fucking Django, because Django's amazing.
God, Django is ridiculous, completely ridiculous as a movie. And I mean, like, Tarantino's films, they span from like Reservoir Dogs is an hour and a half. It's not a long film.
No, it's not.
Not a long film at all. I don't know I know the Netflix like version of The Hateful Eight right now. It's like 4 episodes, but it's like it's over 3 hours.
Yeah.
For sure. So, I mean, but it spans between 90 minutes and almost 200 minutes. And it conveys a story throughout all of them. So just the films being either short or long, but they're still like critically acclaimed, just is a testament to Tarantino. Like, Django is almost 3 hours, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it at all. The story kind of just goes, and like, yeah, if you wanted to cut it to like 2 hours, I guess you could, like, cut out him going like to the winter, or like, but like, why would you? You know, everything flows. Like, watching that movie, it didn't feel like it was almost 3 hours. When I just watched the newest Scorsese movie, The Irishman, that movie felt 3 fucking hours.
No, it fucking was. It took too long.
That movie felt like it was 3 hours.
It had a name around it too, like Scorsese, De Niro, Pesci.
Yeah.
But also it still felt that long.
I watched it in multiple sittings.
Yeah, Tarantino movies they don't fucking feel that way.
Yeah.
They don't. So I guess like this piggybacks off of fucking Brad Pitt finally coming into the fold. And then so here's Leo in Django.
Oh man.
Giving, I don't know what, I really can't say his
Calvin
best
Candy.
performance because like he's such a great actor, but it is so fucking good.
Can I just mention one thing about it? And this might be a little, you know, in 2020 times a little crazy, but like there was a thing with Leo. He's amazing, and Django is, you know. It was released in what year was it released?
2012,
right,
I'm pretty
okay.
sure.
Maybe it doesn't get released in 2020. Maybe it does. But, like, the thing about it is just, like, when Leo, the sinister character that he plays, I guess after, you know, Quentin Tarantino said this, after every role, after every shot, after every time he said something that was terrible, he would go over to the person and apologize, right? And it was like, he kept doing it, and it was kind of just disrupting things, you know, and it was interrupting the flow, and Quentin was getting irritated. Because Quentin's idea is like, we're all equal, obviously. We're shooting a fucked up movie. And Samuel L. Jackson had to pull Leo aside and be like, hey, man, like, do your thing, bro. Like, say what you gotta say, stop fucking apologizing. Let's fucking shoot an amazing movie.
You're breaking up the flow. This is
Yeah.
historical piece. This is how people talk.
It was like, I know you have to say the N-word and you have to do your thing, but like, dude, like, stop apologizing, man. We're shooting a movie and you're an amazing actor and I'm an amazing actor and we're going to do this and we're going to just nail this shit. And it was cool because Leo even attested to it. He was like, hey, you know, like, that gave me such an edge off.
It hurt him.
It helped me so much that Samuel took me aside and just like told me that, because it was like I got to be myself and we made an amazing movie, you know. So I wanted I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to throw that in there because what is why Leo was so great in that movie. What you said, like, he should have won an award. Like, and he came through for like hour 30 minutes into the movie or something. Hour in the movie, he's in it.
Yeah.
And that's the characterization, like you said. You're talking about characterization of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. I want to revisit Django. I want to revisit the fucking maybe best improv fucking scenes ever shot was when fucking Leo, you know, cut his hand and he kept acting. But we really do have to get on to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, another controversial issue. So now, Quentin Tarantino has tackled World War II. He's tackled slavery. And now he jumps into the Manson murders of '69.
The Tate.
Okay. The Tate LaBianca murder.
Yeah,
well, actually, that movie doesn't go into LaBianca murders.
Oh, really?
Because the way that fucking movie plays out is that, like, Tate never gets murdered, which is amazing. That's a Tarantino thing. It's because, like, they play it out to the point where it's like, hey, like, and I kind of fucked it up. Like, if you're fucking haven't seen that movie, I don't know why the fuck you're listening. So, spoiler alert. Tarantino puts his own fucking spin on it, and
it's an alternate universe.
Yeah,
it's an alternate reality.
Exactly. Once upon a time,
which is what Inglourious Bastards was, right? If spoiler alert,
he
kills Hitler, right?
Same concept. So like,
which is we all loved it.
Yeah, we all loved it. So they go to kill fucking Sharon Tate and whoever's at the house, but like Leo's character and Brad Pitt's character, like they live on the same fucking street, and they talk shit to the killers, and the killers decide they're gonna go fucking kill them, and they're like. And it turns into the most amazing fucking finale fucking ever. Okay? It's so good. So, like, but before we even get to that point, we just see a very good illustration of how film and TV, the way Hollywood was built in that time.
Just all how it kind of coincides, and that was like the golden age.
It was,
yeah,
and that was. I think that's what he was trying to do was like to write the ending of that golden age.
Yeah.
In that movie, because it did end.
But the ideas, how did he come up with those ideas? It was like, hey, look, I'm gonna take this guy, you know, who's Leo, who's like I want to say failed B actor, who's known that his time's up, but then his stuntman is the dude who beat up Bruce Lee or whatever he did, right? And then he killed his ex-wife, which no one knows the story really.
No,
we all know she was a bitch or whatever.
Because he's my favorite character in that film. He really is.
And then the whole Manson thing, and it's like the way he wrapped that into a story was just fucking.
Well, also because he throws Brad Pitt's character into Spawn Ranch, like. Brad Pitt's character is at Spawn Ranch.
He gets in the mud.
Yeah, he gets into some fucking shit at Spawn Ranch, and you're like, I remember watching the first time, I was like, damn, is Brad Pitt gonna die right now? Because he's at that fucking place. Like, he's there. And so nervous. And, like, that kind of tied it all in. Like, because Manson, like, if you watch the film and not knowing it was, like, about that, then you're like, what the fuck? This is a good film, but, like, you would never see the Manson thing coming in. Even with Sharon Tate involved, because I will say this right now, Margot Robbie did a great job portraying.
She didn't look like Margot Robbie. She looked like Sharon Tate.
She looked like Sharon Tate. She did. She played it so well.
Great job. I agree with you.
And then Quentin Tarantino, as always, brings in actors to play legendary people.
Emma Hirsch was
Emil Hirsch, who was Jay Sebring.
Sebring, yeah.
So like it's just another great fucking, and that's kind of think where he's going. I don't know if it's where he's going, but I can say to a full tilt right now is that like he can hit controversial topics and still make them desirable and very good films. And so yeah,
research has to be done to do that too. He ain't just making this shit up. He does his research.
He did, because there's like a montage of Sharon Tate training with Bruce Lee, and that really happened. Like, that actually really did happen.
Sharon Tate
trained with Bruce Lee for the last movie she did before she got killed. He does his research. Like, I think the basis of everything we're talking about tonight is that, like, Quentin Tarantino has great writing. He writes the scripts great. The dialogue is great, but he also does his fucking research when it comes to historical fucking shit. And even if he's going to twist it, even if he's going to, like, Inglourious Bastards, like Django, like Once Upon a Time, he does the research, but he can still fucking.
He's able to make it work,
yes.
And it's seamless. It's seamless. You don't even think about that. No. Oh, this didn't happen, or this couldn't actually happen, but it seems like it could.
Well,
that it might.
That's the genius of the title of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Is like if you can identify the title, you could say, okay, yeah, like that didn't happen, but like the title really is Once Upon a Time, like like. Tarantino's not done yet. Like, we really can't be done talking about that. Like, this transcends 45 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever. Like, but really do have to move on to another segment. Like, in what segment am I talking about, Ed?
Hot route.
Hot route.
We've got some hot routes.
I think Ed has some hot routes for us. And as always, the guest is subject to these hot routes.
Ah, cool. Let's go.
So let's go with hot route number 1. Tarantino has never been known for critically acclaimed soundtracks, like amazing blow you out of the water soundtracks, but there are some iconic times in his movies that you can just hear the scene. Okay, so what to you guys is your favorite moment from Tarantino movies in a musical sense, like the dance from Pulp Fiction, like just that's one example.
Okay, just a heads up real quick, I love that question. And since you said the dance from Pulp Fiction, that's Chuck Berry, by the way. Chuck Berry, Never Can Tell. That's the song, if anyone's wondering. But go ahead, answer the question, Dave. I already have my answer. I'm excited about that question. Beatrix Kiddo has been training with Pai Mei for a long time. While she's looking back on that and flashing back to her training with him, she's locked in a fucking coffin. And she's punching her way out. There is a song that is played while she's doing it, while she's remembering that she's like punching her way out, she's talking to herself. That is the fucking jam.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
That's what I fucking think about.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not even like a musical moment. Maybe just like a specific sound or.
Okay, so that's I love that you said that, because the sound, it was crazy because like when you said it, I was like, there's so much music that Quentin Tarantino puts in his movies that are just amazing.
He really does.
How did you know to do that?
Yeah.
But what you just said, it's a sound. The sound that gets me at all times, and it's the same movie that Christopher said, and I don't know why, because it's not my favorite movie of Quentin Tarantino, but it's my favorite sound, and it's when she sees somebody that's fucked her.
Yes.
It's like red flashing, you know, and it's like, you fucked me, time to kill your ass. And it's like, oh my god, like, because, like I said when I was talking earlier, how, like, she got, all these characters fucked her. Like, put her face in the ground, you know, and it was like, when you felt that, it was like, yeah, get this bitch! Like, you know, it was like that. So I think that was probably the most iconic feeling I felt, like, where I was just like, yeah, let's kill this person.
So
like,
that's a great answer. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
That's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
That's honestly like my number 2. Like that's why I said I was like, okay, let's change it into a sound.
Yeah.
But
thank you.
My number 1 is just the beginning of Django. The song in the beginning of Django, and they're just singing his name, Django. It's just like that gets me every single time.
All right, what's your next fucking?
All right,
route?
my next hot route.
I love that. That's just a beautiful song, by the way. I'm sorry to like. I know you're going around it. That's a beautiful song.
It is.
It just it goes right into the movie, to the mood of the movie. Like boom.
It screams like hope. You know,
hope. Yes.
All right. So hot route number 2. This, I mean, we were talking about this. Tarantino likes to. He's not quite Scorsese, who likes to just. De Niro's his guy. Pacino is his guy. But Tarantino continues to use the same actors in some of his films. So who's your favorite actor that's been in multiple Tarantino films?
Can I take this one?
Yeah, go.
Tim Roth.
Oh God, that's a good answer.
He's just this dude
Mr.
that like
Orange, man.
That's where he comes in. He comes in Mr. Orange, and he's my favorite character in. I love Mr. Blonde.
Mr. Blonde.
I love Mr. Blonde. Mr.
Blonde.
Orange, though, man, he's gotta be so much in that movie. He's gotta be the undercover cop, detective, and he's gotta play that role. And that fucking chief is just on his ass. It's like you're in a play. He was like, I felt like I was in high school play when he was doing the scripts, you know, and he was so good at telling that story where it showed the actual scene with the dogs and the cops in the bathroom, and it was like. You wanted him to win so bad, you know? It was like, there's something about Tim Roth where, like, when he acts in Tarantino movies, you want him to, like, not die. Like, you want him to win, you know? And it's crazy because when you guys talk about Hateful Eight, he plays a great character in that movie, too, but he's the opposite. So I think there's a diversity with him because you see him in Pulp Fiction and you're like, he's just talking to his woman, you know, about, like, dudes that, like, are successful and they're talking about how they're in love. And then all of a sudden takes a curve and you're like, nah, these fools are some crooks. But they love each other. And he just, I think his ability to switch roles I think Quentin saw something in him and was like, nah, dude, like you could play any character I want you to play, and I'm gonna keep you around. And I love Tim Roth. I think it's my favorite.
He has some range, and I think I'm sad that he isn't in more roles in the spotlight, because I think he's a fantastic, very underrated actor. He's very good. He can, just his range is crazy.
You guys done?
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Jesus.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah, you guys fucking done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I don't know how anybody doesn't say Samuel L. Jackson. It is the obvious answer, but also, can we look at everyone he's done in every fucking Quentin Tarantino
There are
film?
3 obvious answers. It's Sam Jackson, Leo, and Brad Pitt.
It actually, I would say it wouldn't even be Brad Pitt. It wouldn't even be Leo, because name the fucking films they both in. There's only 2.
Okay.
A piece.
Okay. I'm saying your favorite actor that has been in multiple movies.
I was gonna say Michael Madsen. I was gonna say that.
That's also
because you love Mr. Blonde.
I love, but I also love fucking Bill's brother, Bud.
Yes.
Okay, but also it is Samuel L. Jackson.
It's Sam Jackson.
It's Samuel Jackson because people don't remember. Like, obviously you know his big roles, right? He's so great in Django, Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction, Hateful Eight, but also he's like uncredited in Kill Bill as the piano player. Like, he fucking gets killed at the fucking massacre.
He was no nonsense.
So yeah, so I don't need to explain, but like it is Samuel L. Jackson.
But it just is Sam Jackson.
So third hot route, hit us with it.
Third hot route. Oh, okay. You know, I have a couple, and I'm trying to. Oh man. All right, now this will be a good one to end with. Most iconic line from a Tarantino movie.
Jesus Christ.
Can I tell you what mine is?
Yeah, please give me an idea.
This is some serious gourmet shit.
It's in there. It's got to be in there.
It's got to be in there.
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
And it's the same conversation.
Okay.
It's the same conversation. Okay?
All right. What do you got?
All right, so mine is going to be Samuel L. Jackson, Pulp Fiction. Does Marcellus Wallace look like a bitch?
That's the one. That's the one.
It's got to be it, because it spawns so much conversation and fucked upness after that. It's like, what? Nah, motherfucker, I told you what happens when you say what. I'm gonna shoot your ass in the leg. Right? yeah, right? And it's like he already knew what the consequences were, but I asked
say what again? I dare you. I double dare you.
Right.
Just
why did you try to fuck him like? It spawned so much conversation.
Oh, God.
Does Marcellus Wallace look like a bitch? It sticks out. It was one of those things I heard when I was a kid. Like, I swear to God, my parents would say that shit at parties. Like, does Marcellus Wallace look like a bitch? I'd be like, hey, what does that mean? You know? And then I think me and my finally Christopher watch it like, oh shit, now we know. Now we know.
It's just like
Marcellus Wallace is not a bitch.
It's just a question that catches you off guard. Like, does he look like a bitch? Just like, what?
I double dare you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, please answer right, dude. I don't want you to get shot in the other leg. Please answer right. I don't want you to get shot. Christopher.
Okay, yeah. Mine's from the same film. It's from Pulp Fiction. But it is the entire dialogue of Jules trying to explain to Vincent Vega why he's leaving the business. Okay? Like, listen. I dodged bullets today that I did not dodge. Okay, this was divine intervention. And like, fucking John Travolta is talking shit the whole time, like, oh, that's not what happened. But like, he's so set in his fucking opinion, like in his mind, like he knows, like, nope, this is my sign. I'm walking away. And it's the way he let that go. Conviction. Conviction is my biggest thing, is conviction. And he had it. He had conviction. And so that's, same film, my favorite dialogue. Because that whole conversation where they're sitting there at fucking breakfast, like, until they got fucking almost robbed by Tim Roth, your boy.
Yep.
I love that dialogue. I love the way that Samuel L. Jackson was fucking spitting his beliefs. I love that. So that's it for me.
These are all
amazing
pretty good
scene.
answers. I mean, there's so many different answers to this one. It's endless what we could go with.
No, we can go
Just
forever.
We could do a Tarantino part 2 if we wanted to.
We're really good, because I feel like there's a lot we left out, but we talked about a lot, and obviously, could never be done. But I really like to thank Dave for coming on the show. Thanks for coming on, man.
And I would thank you and Ed. You guys are my boys, and I appreciate you letting me talk.
Yeah, man. And so as always, this is Almost Agreeable. I'm Chris.
I'm Ed. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. Thank you for listening to another episode of Almost Agreeable. You can catch all new episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Almost Agreeable.